to chat in maybe where you guys are actually listening from, wherever in the world you might be. I was actually watching a few people chat in right now. A couple of people like Hawaii, which is about the furthest away from my present time zone and still in the United States. That's all right. You're all right with me. What else? What else we got? So I'm actually broadcasting in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. Everybody always asks me at the internet connection here. I'm actually using Starlink right now. Uh, Everybody constantly asks that, like, "Oh man, it works fairly well." Yeah, I'm on Starlink, and I like it. I like it. I don't have like the little dish. It looks like a little pizza box sitting up on the roof, over next to me. Prescott, Arizona. Nice. Little cooler up there. Spent a lot of time in Flagstaff this summer, and I love it up there. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Tesla internet. That's right. I got Tesla internet going over here. Nice. Germany. So I'm a little closer to time zone than I'd care to be right now. So I'm on Eastern time, but I'm actually in the middle of the Atlantic. So in the winter, we're an hour past Eastern time there. Um, nice. Fantastic. Yeah, somebody's asking about audio. Okay. Yeah, that one's kind of on you, man. That one's kind of on you because everybody else hears you. Okay. There's no iguanas bothering me today. For those of you that are brand new that have no idea, we have a little bit of an iguana problem here in on the island of St. Croix. So I'm U.S. Virgin Islands. I'm in the island on the island of St. Croix, and on the island, iguanas are not indigenous to the island. Iguanas are basically like the rat, if you will, of the island. So the iguanas have kind of taken over and they climb up on my roof. They taunt me. Okay. I go after them. So my record right now is, I'm 4-0 against the iguanas, at least this trip to the island house. So yeah, it's fairly, oh, I never thought about the iguana going after my Starlink. Okay. That would actually bring me over the edge. I would sit up there and hunt them at that point all night, every night. It's good stuff. So I want to welcome everybody today. I'll get some informal aspects out of the way right up front. First of all, I am the host. I will be introducing what is a mystery guest throughout the course of today's presentation. In the next 5-10 minutes, I'll introduce you to our mystery guest. It's kind of exciting. Okay. Okay. He is a mystery. But a few questions that always come up here. People constantly ask me if this is live. It's live. The other thing they always ask me is if I can ask questions. Of course, you can ask questions. I'm reading the chat right now in real time. We're actually broadcasting this into a multitude of different rooms. So, excuse me, losing the voice, and it's only 1 o'clock. Yeah, by the way, we have a wild chicken problem here too. Wild chickens, roosters, iguanas. We even have mongoose running around. Okay. It's a veritable zoo every time you walk outside your home here. But on the bright side, when you're on island, I'm 75 yards back from the ocean, with a clear shot. There's nothing between me and the ocean. It ain't half bad. I can live with that. All right. So you can ask questions throughout the course of the presentation. Yes, this is live. Yes, there's a mystery. Yes, let's get into it. Again, I am Don Kaufman. I'll give you a little bit more of a formal introduction for myself here momentarily. But this is the 10% per month market. Huge amount of work has gone into this presentation. So stay with me here. Risk disclosure. We are not financial advisors nor a broker dealer. Many of us here at TheoTrade actually come from the brokerage background. So I always throw this up here. We are brokerage business and thrilled about that. A copyright disclaimer. It's mine. It's not yours. You have to have the written express consent of the National Football League to reproduce this. The real reason I always throw this slide up here, it's got our contact information on it. Look, if you need to get a hold of me after today, just put Don in the subject. It's support at theotrade.com. Just put Don on the subject, goes directly to me. If you need to get a hold of us by phone, okay, 800-256-8876. The truth be told, though, it's easier to get a hold of us. Our turnaround time and most emails, when we're during the trading day, most emails are turned around within minutes. Just general support question, literally minutes. We have an entire email team that does nothing but sits there and answers emails. We are now into the tens of thousands of clients here at TheoTrade, and we're here to support you. But if you need to get a hold of me directly, I answer emails. Okay. Constantly throughout the course of the day, just put Don in the subject line. A few housekeeping items. Housekeeping. Shut the door. Focus. There is no more Skype. I don't know why I leave that in the slide, but there is no more Skype. There is no tomorrow. Skype is part of Teams, and you're not going to see any Microsoft Teams here. I don't work on a whole lot of Microsoft products, other than I'm possibly using Windows right now. Anyway, turn off Skype chat, whatever else is distracting you. Close Facebook, burn Facebook. Instagram's got to go. Phone's on silent mode. Do I have my phone on silent mode? I do. Kick out the kids, the dog. The dog can stay. Our mystery guest is going to go through quite a bit today. This is the mystery guest. The mystery guest is going to go through quite a bit today. So look, focus. You took the time to be here. Focus. We're going to be about an hour today. All right. Look, this is why you are here. Okay. One of the things we're going to talk about, it's just hidden in plain sight market. All right. And I actually am kind of excited about today's presentation because, and originally when this is brought to me, it's actually months ago when this is brought to me, and I started actually digging into it. I'm like, holy crap, I haven't looked at this in some time. And yeah, this is completely ignored by the crowds chasing hype in the headlines. Everything right now is hype headlines, hype headlines. If I hear some of the meme stocks again, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, how it's already unlocking 10% per month returns and significantly more. Why focusing here could finally deliver the peace and performance you've been chasing and get tomorrow's top trade idea today. That's something actually that our mystery guest is going to be keying into in a moment here. Now, a little bit about me. So some of you are brand new here, and I always have to give like what I term like the nickel tour of what TheoTrade is. So TheoTrade was founded in 2016. We are coming into our 10th year. We have now served, active clientele is well over like 10,000 now. But over the years here at TheoTrade, we've actually had hundreds of thousands of clientele that obviously many of you are in here live. There's actually a few thousand people in here right now. But here's the nickel tour actually on myself. So a lot of people, again, always have stories about how they got involved in trading and how they got involved in the business. And I've heard it all. Like I've heard people say, I was a taxi cab driver and then I was a trader. I was a school teacher and then I was a trader. And I was this and then I was a trader. I grew up in the business. I had family that traded on the floor of the Chicago Board Options Exchange. In all seriousness, I never had an intent of going into this business. I never had an intent. But when you grow up and you have, family members that are making some pretty serious money, it influenced me. 3 weeks out of college, 1998, 3 weeks out of college, I went to Chicago on a whim, and I clerked in Chicago for a couple of weeks. I then actually traded Chicago Board Options Exchange, was moved upstairs shortly thereafter. I was riding the escalator up in the Chicago Board Options Exchange coming off the trading floor. For those of you that have ever been to the Chicago Board Options Exchange, take an escalator up to get out of the pits. Coming up the pits, a guy actually that I knew really well, he's like, hey, we want to talk to you. Come out here. So that guy actually that grabbed me, okay, was by the name of Tom Sosnoff. So Tom actually kind of I think the first time we really talked, I think I was 23 years old. By 24, I was working for Tom Sosnoff in what was a startup brokerage firm called Think or Swim. Some people have probably heard of Think or Swim, but I was there pretty much from day one. Before we even released the first version of Think or Swim, I was already working there. 2001, I went on with them full time. I stayed at Think or Swim until roughly 2015. It's a kind of a fun story, but starting in 2001, I took an executive position. By 2004, we took in private equity. We took in private equity in 2004, took the company public in 2007. I was on the executive team when we took the company public, the roadshow, the whole shebang. In 2009, the company was actually purchased by TD Ameritrade. Many of you are familiar with TD Ameritrade. In 2009, that was about a $700 million deal. I had a nice exit, but they gave me a 5-year deal. So I signed a 5-year deal with TD Ameritrade at a 5-year lockup clause. That took me to 2015. My time at both Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade, I built a lot of the aspects of Thinkorswim, but I actually built the entire education division of Thinkorswim and went on to actually run education specifically for TD Ameritrade and their 7 million clients. And a lot of what you actually learn here, okay, comes from our roots, obviously at Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade, and watching order flow. In fact, a lot of the people that work here at TheoTrade, almost all of the people that work here at TheoTrade, okay, I go back with 20 years, going back to like the early Thinkorswim days. So it's a little background about me. Now, let's get down to business about, again, 10% per month market. All right, this is for you if you are tired of the noise, the constant guesswork, the 4 a.m. economic scrambles. By the way, I like that one, the 4 a.m. economic scrambles. That's when like data comes out. You're like, oh, son of a, by the way, it doesn't even matter what data comes out. We just go up. The 27 tab watch list. That's when you have like a watch list on top of a watch list, another watch list. Now, our mystery guest wanted to focus, okay, not on 50 tickers, not on 12, markets, just one. We're coming back again to one ticker. And the moment I ever say that, we're coming back to one ticker, everybody turns around and immediately says, oh, this is Tony Rago. It's not Tony Rago. It is not Tony Rago. Okay. You want to be smooth. You want to be precise. You want to be repeatable. Okay. And able to hit, okay, an ambitious goal. What's the ambitious goal? Okay. I wanted a market that could realistically deliver 10% per month. Again, that actually comes from him, not me. Wanted a market that could actually reduce, like literally produce 10% per month. Not a meme stock, not a lotto play, not some high beta, tech roller coaster, something real, something stable, something scalable. So we went looking. Search began, futures, stocks, options, Forex, crypto. Okay, everything was tested in here, and he created his own criteria to qualify this one market. Had to trade 24 hours. That's 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. Offer tight spreads, liquidity. That's some of my requirements. You ain't liquid, you ain't like, tight spreads, you're out of the contest. Okay, here's another really interesting one. Be free from AI distortion. Like stocks are just completely distorted right now by liquidity coming from artificial intelligence. One by one, they failed the test. Too volatile, too illiquid, too manipulated, tired of some of the headlines out there and tied to headlines. It's horrible until one market stood out. Not just stood out, but it consistently hit profitable benches month after month, trade after trade. It behaved like it was built for traders. He calls it the 10% per month market. It's real, it's liquid, it's overlooked. Okay. And it's hiding in plain sight because it's not a stock. It's not a sector. It's not even one of the, most traders are not even, this isn't even on the radar screen. But for our mystery guest, became home. His entire focus, every 3 beacon setup, which we're going to talk about extensively today, every trade, all centered on one, okay, precision-driven marketplace. Okay, let me show you how this like literally changes everything. The overlooked market is going to give you unmatched structure, built-in scalability. Okay, you're going to have pinpoint entry and exit signals. The setup stays calm and consistent when other markets are in pure chaos. Okay, the strategy is how our guest today is nailing 10% monthly returns with total, okay, control and minimal noise. The market is arguably the most liquid market in the world. I'm curious if anybody actually gets the market yet. The market here is arguably the most liquid market in the world. I don't want to hear it. It ain't no Tesla. Okay, we're out of stocks. This market has no day trade rules. There's the kicker. No day trade rules. No high capital requirements. Capital requirements are negligible. Not even part of the conversation. $500 in your account, you can do this, and no stressful wake up calls. What is that market, ladies and gentlemen? It's the 6E futures. So many they just totally overlook it. The Euro FX futures. I overlooked it. Okay. For those of you that do not know this marketplace, this, okay, for years, one of the largest trading pits in the entire world was the Euro FX futures. This pit was massive. Okay. We're going to describe this product a little bit and a little bit about it. If you never had experience with Euro FX futures, okay, allow our very special guest, ladies and gentlemen, Blake Young, to actually describe it to you. But this product is actually critical. It's going to be a huge key in this. So let me introduce Blake. Okay, Blake, you can come out from hiding, sir. You can come out from hiding.
I'm here. I'm not hiding anymore.
I know we come up with these great bios for you, but in all seriousness, Blake and I go back. Blake and I go back over 20 years. So Blake has been trading Forex and futures markets before we even met. That's how we actually met. um, senior currency analyst and financial market instructor for 24 years, okay, and created dozens of unique educational courses and offerings, instruction, okay. Bottom line, Blake, when it comes to this product, is far and away probably one of the most experienced people in the world. Like, I'm actually going to turn it over to you on that particular note. After 2 decades, he has literally dropped most markets, okay, and predominantly now is trading this product. Blake, there's your introduction. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate all that Don did for the introduction there. We really do have 20 years of experience with one another. And so I have a ton of respect for Don and the things that he's done. And we did. That's how we met. We met because I created the Forex program, did a lot of things for TD Ameritrade in that world. But the thing that we're going to talk about today is a little bit more specific to how we are going to trade, you and I, in this market, how we're going to be able to take the opportunities to be successful in this market. So let's go through a couple of things here. I'm going to show you a couple of things, and we're going to show you what I do step by step. But I want you to understand as we get started today, this isn't theory. I have been working on this literally for 20 some years, but especially over the last 3 or 4 months, I wanted to say, look, I'm going to prove it. This is not theory. This is my actual simple daily process that has been setting up. I'm showing this live. I'm doing this consistent. I've done it with my accounts. I've shown it with real money, and we've adjusted so that this is very accessible to everyone. And what we're doing is we're setting this up to look at this 12 hours before the market starts. 12 hours before the market starts every single time, we're going to be looking at this and saying, what is the trade? What is the area? What is the beacon? So every night I pour over the 6E futures and I'm looking for my beacons, and I'll explain what that means here in just a minute. Okay, we'll come up to that here in a moment. It's a 12-hour warning. And when it triggers, I know exactly where to focus the next morning. I know exactly where we're looking. There's no guessing. And this is something that, as we kind of go through this, we're setting up for trades for the next morning, and we're just going to focus on 2 hours, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. That's when the pressure builds, that's when it hits, and that's when it sets up our trades. And I'm already ready for it because, unlike other traders, I had 12 hours of notice. All right, enough. You know, we're looking at this. I'm tracking beacon, signaling my proprietary TheoTrade indicator. This indicator identifies a distributive range. So this is math-based. This is not just guessing. This is math-based distributions ranges that forecast future prices and price action. This isn't something you just eyeball. It takes precision. Without these tools, you're flying blind. That's why my system gives me every single night these specific setups. Now, again, enough talk about as far as that. Let me show you exactly how this works and why I call it the 10% per month market. So I'm going to give you exactly trade-based, non-theoretical, actionable setups that we've done in this market. So to do that, we're going to show you one of the first beacons. 6 p.m. Eastern on May 1st, we create the beacons, and the beacons are already projecting all the way forward to the next day. They're going to show us where we're going to be at 12 hours, 13 hours ahead of time when we're setting up our trade window for that 2-hour time frame. When that sets up, and by the way, on this day, we had super strong earnings from AI giants like Microsoft and Meta. 8 of the 11 sectors closed up. So if we're looking at this, oh, we need to just trade and go bullish equities. No, that is not what this told us to do. In fact, it gave us multiple different signals on the same day with the same beacons. So the very next morning, when we already knew what these were, 12 hours ahead, we created the beacons, we created the levels, and it gave us the signal. We were able to short this position and hit the target for $125 profit in about 10 minutes. And so as we're looking at this, we have the entry price, the exit price, we hit the target, we limit out, and we're done. That fast. Now, again, using the same beacon, same noise, same excitement over AI stocks and their earnings and whether we performed, should we chase earnings, doesn't matter. What we saw is that beacon told us where we're going to trade. And we already hit the one target, so when it goes and hits the other target, it set up a different beacon and told us to go bullish. Well, same beacon, but a different trade. Now that trade told us to go bullish over here. We picked up $181 in another 15 minutes. So we're still in that 2-hour window. And we've just made another $181, and the trade is executed exactly in that time. Nice 15 minutes, 16 minutes, but you get what I'm getting at. Roughly 15 minutes. And we hit that target and we walk away with $181.25 of profit again. Now the same beacon, same day, so it's the same beacon. We're doing it one more time on this particular day, and we get another short or sell signal. And that signal goes down and it hits $125 of profit in, again, about 15 minutes. And those trades are there, they execute, these are real, these are legitimate, and they trade and they signal and they hit. And that's what we're doing. Hit, hit, hit. And we don't even care what was going on with all that news and all the excitement that was in the market.
So I was going to ask you that very question. As soon as I saw this, and I know we were talking about this a little bit prior to, but on that particular day, what was going on? Like it's like May 2nd.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember what was going on? What was going
Yeah.
on? Like, because it was
Meta, Microsoft, they're all announcing 8 of 11 sectors are up, but it doesn't matter.
that is one of the most critical things. By the way, I want to make a quick mention in here because when when Blake was actually taking me through this, like the very first time. By the way, for what you guys are looking at right now, those are screenshots from Thinkorswim. That's the opening and closing order, specifically from Thinkorswim. Obviously, this contract, okay, happens to be the 6E, happens to be a futures contract. Push that aside for just a second, okay? You have to understand that I saw the date, and as soon as I saw the date on here, and again, Blake was taking me through this the last couple of days. Yeah, I saw the date on there, and I'm like, holy crap! This like the markets were going nuts on this day because some of the biggest earnings releases were out. And we started putting together this presentation. I kept saying to him, I'm like, wait a second, but doesn't it have a bearing on the fact that like, Microsoft and it was wild. It was literally like the NASDAQ was on fire on these trading sessions. It had no bearing whatsoever on this particular product. And for me, that was actually one of the most decisive like factors of like we need to look deeper into this, as we're trading these strategies and look deeper into it because it had a degree of incredible autonomy, okay, that other products that we trade don't necessarily have.
Yeah, and it's to me, I think that's one of the most important things. That, even though they say, well, it's on fire, my question would be, how do you do on those on fire days? And isn't it nice to have something that gave us bullish and bearish trades that are completely disconnected and not contingent upon whether we're reacting to a news event or a tweet or something else? In fact, in those setups in those trades, those 3 different trades provided $431 in a 2-hour time window. So when we're talking about hitting 10%, sometimes there's opportunities to make a lot more in a very short period of time. And this was already pushing that level in a matter of 2-hour window, and we were already hitting it. So we go the next day, and I've just got a number of beacons that I've set up, and we saw these again overnight. So I'm going to the next one, and we saw that previous day, what was going on in the market when we're going into the next set. Let's call it that, the next set of beacons. When we're watching these next moves, what's the news telling us? What is the detail? Does it really matter? And so as we're looking at this, we're watching for the moves. We're going to see the news didn't really matter, even though there's a lot of news going on. We have CPI data and we have extra information. Well, this gave us the beacon. And again, it gave us a signal, and the signal hit. And this one took a little more than 15 minutes. It took us 25 minutes, and there's a $137.50 profit in that particular trade. And we trigger that about 9:20 and out shortly after 16 minutes, and we're out of that trade. And as we're looking at these, we're looking at the different setups and the opportunities, and there's bullishness, there's bearishness. And when you're looking at this, there's no discussion of options. You don't have to worry about whether there's time decay in these. These are in and out of the trades. There's no time decay components of this at all. And it's equally as beneficial to be bullish as it is to be bearish. We're just simply trading what the chart tells us, what the beacons point to, where we're set up for the beacons and where our trades are going to go next. And by the way, on that beacon, this is when the China trade talks were going on. VIX was falling on the 5th. So the 5th saw second down day while the VIX was falling in equities, no clear path forward on the trade deals. And we had the Fed policy meeting. So this is an extremely volatile day with a falling VIX. So, I mean, that didn't even make sense. And we even talked about it back then. Wait, So we have China deal, Fed meeting, tons of volatility as far as what the information is, and yet the VIX was falling. So how do you deal with that? Well, I didn't care. I just did not care.
I love this one because you're like not rain nor they're like sleet, no hail. Like you're just basically trading through it. I felt like actually throwing that out there in here because this is another one that we actually talked about extensively. There's another. It's just when I say the market's on fire, like we were all over the place. It's another trading session where it was actually a split marketplace. The thing that surprised me the most though is the lack of influence to this marketplace, even when the Fed was up to bat.
Yeah, and that was usually when you see a lot of action on the dollars when the Fed's up to bat, and yet you look at this chart and it's not crazy. It's set up. The beacon set us up. We bought here, and there's actually two buy signals. It doesn't really matter. We have two different buy signals. Both of those hit the same target, and so it doesn't matter whether they got in the first one or the second one. You did not get stopped out. We hit the target, and there's $156 profit. And I went off the first one. My arrow should be a little to the left there, but you'll see on the trade results that we got in, and it was about 45 minutes. So about 45 minutes, $156.25. It's still the same thing. Is again, three different trades in the trading window on a bifurcated day, a split day where is a Fed day and China talks and breaking down of the talks. No, we're getting an agreement. No, we're not. And yet three different trading days and we clear $262. It's consistent. So we go and look at the beacon on the next day. So this is that same day that we just saw all the chaos from the Fed. The beacon already showed us where we're looking at the next day. So hours, 12 hours ahead of time. Once again, we see the opportunity set up 12 hours ahead of time. We get the buy signal. We buy into this, we hit the target, and we make $237.50 profit on that trade. And that is on the craziest day. What do we know? Well, we had trade deals coming together or not, or on again, off again. And it just created such chaos. And by the way, this was we talked about the Fed meeting. This is actually the Fed rate change and Fed statement. This is the Fed statement day. High volatility before, and then we ended up with a positive close on equities. But again, does it matter? This is long euros on a Fed meeting that theoretically should have strengthened the dollar and strengthened the equity markets. We end up trading, hit our targets, and we're done. Oops, I clicked on the wrong one. Here we go. There we go. So next day. Now you'll see there's the wider beacon. So when we have that Fed day, it created this different view, but still the same beacons, still setting us up 12 hours ahead of time. Now this is when the UK trade deal was announced. We had global trade war concerns, we had global inflation concerns, and yet we had a deal with the UK. And so we're maybe going back and forth on that. The sentiment is again creating volatility. And here's our trade. And we see a little extra volatility because it is specific to trade, and we see it go up and down, and yet here we are hitting our target, and we hit a $206 profit, $206.25 profit in about an hour. And so an hour and a half. And so we see the trade, we hit $206.25. We get out of our trade and we go to the next trade setup. Same beacon. So it's the same chaos, same noise, same UK, same inflation concerns. We don't care. As we set that up, we sell off, we get another additional beacon lower. That's why we have that widened pattern, and we see $237.50 profit in 30 minutes. So each of these are setting up off the same beacons, and sometimes we get two trades, sometimes we get one trade, sometimes we get three trades, but we're trying to get that 2-hour window. And if we can hit that 2-hour window, that's all we're trying to do. Now, it doesn't mean these beacons don't work later on. This is just the sweet spot. This is when we set up the trades and we hit the sweet spot, and we do this as many times as we can. Now, on this day, on 5/13, when the beacon's set up for the next day, this is when we see NVIDIA surge on the Saudi AI chip deal. And we had softer inflation coming from CPI. Tariff relief is discussed because we're going to kick out that deadline. Remember, this is the taco day. This is when we say, okay, we're going to delay those tariffs. We're going to push those out again. And even with that noise of the tariffs being delayed and the idea that NVIDIA's got an amazing, huge deal with the Saudis, we didn't care. It didn't matter. 12 hours later, we have our beacons telling us where to trade. We get a short signals there. We trade it down. We hit $253.75. There's your trade. There's your setup. And then we go to the next time. Now, this is the next same beacon, same day, still part of that 12-hour view. And what do? We drop for another $125 and hit our next target. One after the next are playing into these key levels, these key beacons and the key targets where we can hit our targets, hit our profitability, and end up having those profits hit once again and again, where we have defined risk, very defined risk on every one of these trades. And the nice thing is it's adaptive. The beacons are setting us up and it's adaptive for the moves. So we see 515. What do we know about 515? What was going on in the news? Do you know what happened on 515? This is the fourth bullish day in a row in US equities. PPI showed slowing inflation. So we just had the fear about inflation. Now we're going, oh, well, maybe inflation is slowing. And the China-US trade deal temporary tariff slash agreements. We're going to slash our tariffs, but maybe temporarily. And the VIX drops 4%. So fourth positive day in a row. PPI shows falling inflation, so we don't need to worry about inflation as much. And the VIX falls, and we see the 4% drop in the VIX. Everything looks positive for equities. And what do we get? Well, we get the beacons. That's all we care about. And the beacons give us a trade. 12 hours after the beacons are set up, we have a trade to go, and it's a smaller trade, $118.75. We drop down, we hit our target, we limit out, and we're good. We call it a day. But here's the thing. Let's get real for just a minute. And that is, I've shown you all these amazing trades. Sets you up 12 hours ahead of time, gives you the signals, hit the target. Sets you up, gives you the signals, hit the targets. Is there any such thing in the world of a flawless trading methodology? Do they exist? If anyone tells you that there's a flawless, it's always 100%, you probably should be wary of that, because here's the deal. These do have losses. We have winning days, we have losing days. But the nice thing is the statistics bear out. We set these up, we have defined risk, we have defined targets. And when we hit those targets, we limit out, we walk away. And we're averaging, and we also need to risk manage as we do it, so position size, and we average out 2 times our rewards for the risk we took. And yet we're still hitting our targets 60% of the time rather than our stop losses. So we have a 2-to-1 reward risk ratio while we're getting a 2-to-1 win ratio on the same system. So it doesn't mean there's not losers. It means that we're managing our losers. We're position sizing accurately, which is going to be critical when you go forward and look at your trades, because that's how you're going to get that compounding. When we're talking about these targets, these expectations, we're going to get that compounding, and it's going to build your account, but it doesn't simply always win. So we manage that risk, and we get those small risks smaller and smaller, and we have those targets that stay where they're at, and they're going to hit our targets, and we profit. 2-to-1 reward risk ratio on average so far, and 2-to-1 probabilities. And I don't know any other system out there that has it. Doesn't mean there's no losses. It means that it's managed and we win consistently as far as out the door, after commissions, after payments, out the door profit. And that's what we're talking about. And I don't know, maybe you've seen something else like that, but all I know is this is legitimate as far as we have the losses, but they're managed. And you do need a position size. So I built all these things around that idea that this will fit for about anything you want to do. So you want to trade a small account, you want to trade a big account, it's the percentage in the games here. So as we're doing this, all of these, every one of these were set up the night before. Every one of these levels, I knew 12, 13 hours ahead of the trades. You don't need news. You just need the beacons. None of it really matters.
That's probably
All
one of
that
the
news
most
is
critical
noise.
aspects in here that people constantly overlook, is that you're actually pinpointing it's day before. So that is unequivocally, like I make a little bit of a bigger point on that because the beacons are actually are set in place. And with those set, this is not going to be like seat of the pants, trigger trade, setting up, waiting. Okay. This is actually, a day before, the night before, if you will, execution based on a deliverable within 12 hours.
Yeah, and what I like, it's a 24-hour market realistically, whether you're trading spot or futures, and the futures give you so much good data as far as volume. I love watching that and paying attention to it, but go to sleep. It sets up and gives you the beacons. Now the allure would be, ooh, shiny light. No, just go to sleep. Wake up in the next morning and follow your beacons. If you're there, you have your trade. That's it. And there's a couple days you don't get any trades. Not very often, but a couple days you don't get any trades. You just relax. And it doesn't matter again with that news. All that news is unnecessary. It doesn't react to news. It precedes it. With all that stuff, remember all those news I gave you? Some of those were the night before as far as earnings, some were the previous day, some were during the day as far as the Fed meetings, and it doesn't matter. This precedes it. It gives us this 12, 14 hours ahead of time. Volatility doesn't hurt this. This system, it sharpens it. So, but it even gets better. The system is perfect for new traders. You don't have to jump into full-size contracts. Let's start with the micros. Build your confidence. And for those of you that don't know, micros are 1/10. It's the same signal, the same time window, smaller size, lower risk. Then the setup is full contracts, then where the money, real money starts, and where the 10% potentially comes alive for you. And when we're trading these full contracts, that's what we're talking about. Oops, hang on. There we go. I clicked on the wrong screen there again. So let me prove it's a 10% per month market. Let's do the math together. Okay, we're targeting 10% a month. But personally, every single month, definitely over the last 3 months, even further back, but as we're building it out, but I've been tracking all this in detail. We've achieved more than 20%, 21%, 24%, 23%. This month, we're already in the 30s, but we still have a few days left. So I've achieved over 20% every single month on the entire portfolio, but we're just going to target 10%, and I'll show you exactly how. That's not a theory. Again, this is real compounding growth built on a system I use myself. I do it live, and I know you can use it too. It's that straightforward. 10% a month isn't a dream. It's the reason I now trade only this market in the mornings. Right now, you're at a crossroads. You've seen the trades, you've seen the system, and you've seen the proof. One path leads back into the darkness, but where you're looking at watch lists and guesswork, uncertainty, always reacting, always one step behind. And the other path gives you a 12-hour advance notice. Every single night, you know what to look for. Every morning, you're ready at 10 a.m. to take your trade. And the market unfolds like clockwork. The beacon isn't just a signal. It's a mindset shift. Imagine waking up already knowing what you'll trade while everyone else is still scrambling. The market rewards preparation, not panic. That's the edge this gives you. It fits around your life. The 10% per month market is real, and I'm living it. And if you're ready, I'll show you how to live it too. So let's show you the way in. And as we're looking at this,
I'm going to grab the screen right back from you on the way in over here. So I'm actually going to introduce Blake Young and the 10% per month club. And this is a world first system for traders who want to simplify focus and finally trade with consistency. And we're going to talk about everything people are asking about automation. There are actually some great questions over here. We're going to get into that. As I actually do, here's everything that is actually involved, okay, in Blake's 10% per month system. There's a live masterclass actually coming. That's actually going to be Thursday, July 31st at 2 p.m. Eastern time. You're going to learn the entire system because the right questions are actually populating. And by the way, I'm going to answer all the questions here with Blake momentarily. And I'm actually going to press Blake a little harder on some of the questions that are actually coming in. But you're going to learn the entire system because the whole critical portion of this, of course, everybody is asking that question. What is the beacon? What is the beacon? What is the beacon? We're going to cover it. Like that's what, Blake is actually doing in the class. Okay. There's going to be a 12-week, okay, masterclass where you're going to go deep, okay, over the 12 weeks, like an hour, per session in here. There's a private trading room. Okay. Now time out for a second. Yes, there's a 12-week masterclass where we have specific times where Blake is actually going to have educational sessions. There's an entire private trading room. The private trading room is an hour a day, 5 days a week. One of the reasons that people are constantly like, can I automate this? Can I do this? Okay, the answer is it is. Okay, we just are telling you, you have to execute trades effectively yourself, which is okay. If you wanted to automate that on your side, we're going to discuss that. That's what the private trading room is effectively for. There's also going to be a monthly coaching call. Okay, you're going to stay sharp. You're going to stay on track. This is actually recapping some of the trades. So even after the 12-week mastermind, after the masterclass, you still have an hour a day in there. In addition to that, there's going to be a monthly coaching call. Okay. There's also, of course, a Futures 101 class. I actually recorded the Futures 101 class. That's actually one of the classes I did. That's to actually get you in tune with, there's a couple of people here like a Euro FX, a what? Okay. The total value in here is over $9,085, but you're not paying that. In fact, I'm going to actually take you right over to the site right here, right now. Follow me over to theotrade.com/10. Again, it's theotrade.com/10. Okay. As in the number, theotrade.com/10, as in the number 10. As I scroll to the bottom of this, okay, the only decision to make in today's trade is what would you like to do? You can actually do $9.95, okay, for the quarterly. That is the 10% per month club quarterly is $9.95, or you can actually select the annual, which is $19.95 for the entire year. Okay, again, it's theotrade.com/10. You scroll to the next slide, as we do every single time here at TheoTrade. We provide you a 30-day money back guarantee. There's no questions, no excuses. Look, okay, for some of you, this is a very new market. So for some of you, you've never traded a futures contract, okay, we're going to get you up to speed, in tune, okay, tuned into this particular marketplace. This is something that, has been around for decades, okay, that it literally has kind of like fallen by the wayside. But it's not only an incredibly active market, one of the more liquid markets out there, one of some of the tightest bid offer spreads. But I feel like it's a market that, even for myself, until Blake started bringing it back to our attention. It's been a while now since we've been looking at this, and we've been looking at putting, a structure together for this. It's been a long while. You guys have to understand, this is an incredible undertaking for Blake. The amount of time and effort put into this, he's spending, okay, an hour, hour and a half a day just with the clientele here. Okay, just with the clientele, literally in a private room, specifically, okay, this 10% per month club. So it's got its own unique trading room where he's actually going to broadcast to you, okay, and it's extremely private. And we're really going to limit this one because it is a very new system. Okay, clientele here haven't necessarily traded this one. I think you guys will absolutely love it. So we give you a 30-day money back guarantee. We want to make sure everybody is comfortable with everything we do here. As I said, there's no excuses, no questions, no commentary needed. Okay, and that's critical that you're provided that ability in here. Let's get to the masterclass. First thing, okay, the masterclass is coming up Thursday, July 31st, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Again, the live masterclass. That masterclass, okay, it's going to be quite in depth. Okay, Blake's actually going to cover exactly what everybody's asking right now. The big question is the beacon, the beacon, the beacon, the beacon. What's the beacon? Okay, well, the beacon is the signal. Okay, what is a beacon? Okay, a very bright, shining light. Whenever I think of a beacon, I always think of like a lighthouse. And actually, when I look at your some of the charts in there, and I'm like, it's a lighthouse. It does it for me. But you're going to learn the entire 12-hour beacon system. Okay, you're actually going to learn in this class, it's literally how to make the sausage, okay, and what's in the sausage, because that's the right question. Every spoken word here at TheoTrade is archived. So immediately, I already had somebody in one of the chats say, "I can't make it on July 31st. I'm out there." We get it. Life gets in the way. I completely get it. Okay, the class can be watched at any point. Okay, I like when people go to the class live. I like it, especially when there's a few hundred people in there live, and it's very interactive, very dynamic that way. But of course, you can listen to it in the archive. And the greatest thing about the archive is you can watch it at 1.5 times the speed. He sounds like a chipmunk, but get it done. I sound like a chipmunk anyway. He's actually going to trade and walk through a couple of examples. And really, this entire thing is built, okay, to get you to the confidence level to be able to place the first trade. So again, I put a lot of weight into the master class, but it's like a value of like $300. Obviously, you're not paying for the master class in here, because the master class, okay, that's just teaching you how to make the sausage. In this particular case, what gets a lot more interesting is when we start getting to the 10% per month, 12-week mastermind. So the mastermind, it's 2 live sessions per week for 12 weeks. It is intense. We are going to kill you. So I just hope you guys understand how much time and effort is actually involved, okay, on Blake's side. Because for an undertaking such as this, okay, we are trading a product. As I said, some people are familiar with, the Euro FX futures, some are not. That's okay. But we're trading a product. It's not even about experience in the product, okay? It's something that is multiple setups in a day, and you want to be able to take advantage of those setups, okay? And he's going to sit there with you and execute along those setups. And in fact, the timing of this is going to be critically important. So I think you guys will really enjoy this. So again, 2 live sessions per week for 12 weeks is intense. You're like, oh, what am I paying like, $2,000 a year for? You're paying for, okay? Blake is going to take you through like you've never had. Like it's almost like one-on-one like instruction there. Real-time coaching. You're going to be able to ask questions. Obviously, it's a live chat room just like this. Okay. It'll take you also from micros to full contracts. Now, people, stop right there. Okay. Time out. That is the first time I've actually mentioned that. Okay. When I actually saw the chat rooms kind of commenting here on Euro FX futures, a lot of people are not aware. Okay. First of all, the Euro FX future, pretty mellow. Margin is not like extreme, but there's also a micro contract. I do not care. You can have a $500 account. You go, but if I have $500 and I pay $2,000, okay, you're going to learn something and you have the chance to actually build up an account. But with even $500 in the account, you can trade the micros all day long. You can trade the micros. That's more than enough to actually cover the margin. Later on here, we're like, oh, you have to have a $2,000 minimum. You do not even have to have a $2,000 minimum. $2,000 minimum is actually for FINRA products. Euro FX futures, okay, is CFTC and NFA. That is the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, and the NFA, the National Futures Association. It's a completely different regulatory body. Okay. And why do I tell you that? Because you can trade small, you can stay small, you can actually learn. No one can turn around and say, I don't have enough capital in my account. There's no one in here that can say that. Okay. Cost you like more to go out to dinner with a four than it'll actually cost you to be able to trade these products. Okay. And that's dead serious, right? So you can absolutely, trade one lots, and you can trade one lots. And I know you got to plunk down like $2,000 for an entire year to still my heart. You trade one lots, okay, and you get there. That's you. Everybody has to start somewhere. I don't care whether you have a $2,000 account or a $2 million account. Everybody has to start somewhere. Okay. It's one of the reasons that Blake is going to spend such an incredible amount of time, okay, in these rooms. Blake, we've basically ruined your life with this. I hope you realize that. But
I think it's clear, but
it
it's
is
worth it. It is absolutely worth it.
So this the mastermind portion of this is the big value in here. It's a $3,000 value. Now, this is actually the private trading room. The private trading room is literally daily real-time chat. Okay. When I say a private trading room, okay, markets are open. Here comes Blake. All right. So Blake is actually going to come into the room on a daily basis, okay, talk and trade with you. So watch how, Pro reads and reacts day after day. So Blake's going to be executing live within a room. Okay. And this is really at the core of what we're doing. And this is where a lot of people are like, oh, can you automate it and do this? Okay. I'll reiterate, it is. Okay. The signals for this are automated. Okay. And that's exactly what we're getting to. But the trade execution, look, if you say like, hey, I want to take the signals, I want to automate something, that's completely up to you. Okay. But I'm going to tell you right now, he's actually going to take you through the risk management. You'll always be more effective, okay, than just a pure automation, because what happens if the thing keeps running up? Your automation gets you out where you probably could have had larger degrees of profitability in there. So again, with all due respect, okay, automation at the level of a retail trader probably isn't at the level you want it to be at yet. So, but the signals are absolutely unequivocally automated in here. All right. By the way, I'm going to read off a couple of names as I go along here. As people enroll, it's theotrade.com/10. I want you to realize it takes me about 5 to 7 minutes before I actually see your enrollment come through, but I want you to understand, and I'll verify that we do see your name. So Renee N from California, Roger E from California, Robert M from Wisconsin, Bruce N from California, Robert R from Virginia, Bradley R from Pennsylvania, Thomas W from Connecticut, Nan P from California. It's just the first batch of names I'm actually seeing come through, and just wanted to thank everybody. We definitely see your name. It takes a few moments for our system to actually generate username, password, and to actually give you access, what's about to be obviously our private trading room. All right, onward from here. Okay, so I put a lot of weight, obviously, into the private room, and Blake's actually going to be trading live with you. And I got to tell you, that's something that it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience on his behalf to have a room filled with retail traders that maybe they've never actually traded a Euro FX. Okay. So everybody's going to grow and grow together. The coolest thing probably about this particular product is exactly that. People here at TheoTrade have traded NASDAQ futures. People here at TheoTrade, okay, have traded some Tesla. People here at TheoTrade have traded some spiders. Okay. But almost nobody knows this product. And it's, again, it literally is hidden in plain sight. And I love that actually you put that into the presentation, because I've known this product since I'm a kid. Literally since I'm a kid, I've known this product. I have a lot of friends that actually traded these products. Okay. And it's just like in the last couple of years, nobody cares. Nobody cares because they're like infatuated with GameStop. They're infatuated with Tesla. Not picking on Tesla too much, but it's an easy shot. Everybody's infatuated with the latest meme stock. Beyond Meat is like a thing again. Beyond Meat is seriously not a thing, but it is. It shouldn't be. And here, okay, is one of the most liquid products in the world that we just step on every single day and step over, and you don't even recognize it. Okay. And it's been setting up again and again. It's been wildly consistent in there. Onward from here, monthly coaching call. Okay. If getting Blake in a mastermind for 12 weeks, twice a week is not enough, if getting Blake for an hour a day is not enough, well, there's also going to be a monthly coaching call. The monthly coaching call, though, okay, is kind of like it's like time out. Let's review where we've actually been. Okay. And again, as I said, everybody that's here at TheoTrade is going to kind of be learning this product and coming up at the same time. But the monthly coaching call is like a recap, live Q&A. Okay. It's all about accountability. And you know what? People were asking, were you going to show a losing trade? Is he had in the slide deck over there? Let's get real. Of course, there's losing trades. Absolutely. Okay. Like, people look too much though at what's my winning percentage, which is so ridiculous because he's literally like a risk one to be able to make two scenario. Okay. You risk one to be able to make two. Okay. Being, right, even like half the time in that scenario is still wildly profitable. But I think you'll actually see some pretty incredible results from some of the trades that Blake has done. And again, everything that he's done in the past. Okay. I'm a big believer. It's not what you did back there. Okay. We're driving 100 miles an hour looking through the rear view mirror. Okay. It's going to be about what he's actually doing moving forward, because that's what's going to matter to you. And I'm pretty adamant about that. We spend a lot of time here at TheoTrade reconciling a strategy. I spend a lot of time, okay, with all the different instructors here at TheoTrade and say, like, Blake, like, show me what you got. What are you trading right now? Euro FX futures. The first time he actually said that to me, I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, like I haven't even heard of the Euro FX future in like 20 years. Like nobody's trading that. And he started saying, like, is like I'm getting results. Let's take a look at a couple of spreadsheets. Okay. But all of that is in the past. And I'm telling you, the most critical thing, okay, is going to be where you're going, okay, with the strategy. And that's pretty critical. So the monthly coaching call is all about accountability. And that's a big portion of this. Now, Futures 101 class. I don't want to tout this very much, but Futures 101 class is just understanding what a futures contract is and the futures multiple. They use multiples in futures language, like what a tick is and so forth. Look, before going, okay, to Blake's class, on July 31st, just please do me the favor, just tune in and listen just a little bit, okay, just a little bit. It would be helpful for us for that to actually occur. And the reason I say that, okay, the reason I say that is quite simply because Blake's going to describe to you all over again what a tick is, and I don't want anybody that's more experienced to get frustrated. But at the same time, I want to make sure that people that are completely new to this, like everybody kind of starts at the same level, right? Level playing field. Let's assume that nobody's really traded the Euro FX. Yeah, we're going to kind of take everybody up. So, the first week or two, we'll slow going. We'll be able to execute some trades. All right. And hopefully everybody starts in the micros, like Little League, T-ball. It is a good thing. Okay. T-ball is a very good thing. All right. Continue on from there. Everything you get here. So let me detail, okay, all of this. There's a live masterclass. As I said earlier, okay, when's the live masterclass? July 30th. What time? 2 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So we have a 12-week mastermind, 12-week mastermind. Okay. It's going to get crazy. It's twice a week. There's a commitment. Okay. Do you have to make every single one? Remember, every spoken word here at TheoTrade, is archived. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. Private trading room. Private trading room, this is where it's at. Okay. For those of you kind of going through here, like again, private trading room for an entire year, at least costs $5,000. Okay. At the very least, you're getting the entire year for like $2,000 in here, and the mastermind and the master class, the monthly coaching call, the futures 101. It's total value of about $9,000. Again, theotrade.com/10. I did want to bring this back up in here. Okay. Again, the decision on this form, okay, on this order form, and we've never really done this before. We did give people a quarterly option at $9.95, okay, or the full year, obviously at $19.95. Okay. Either of these, and it's important, either of these, okay, does in fact qualify for the 30-day money back guarantee. So, people are a little uncertain and so forth. You can select a year. Okay. Look, we get, why we offer the money back guarantee. Sometimes like life gets in the way. Like, and we totally and completely understand that. Right. But we want every single client here at TheoTrade to be comfortable. Okay. With what they're trading. Okay. What the product is, comfortable with Blake. Okay. Actually, out of all of our instructors, Blake, I hate to actually give you an accolade here, but you're probably one of the more likable people. Okay. I can definitely see, people not liking a couple of the people a little edgy. Okay. I'm a little edgy from time to time. I'm all right with that. But, Blake is one of the more likable individuals here at TheoTrade. Blake, I would say the downside is this guy will kill himself trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And it's again, this is good. This is going to be a huge undertaking on his behalf. And no pressure, Blake.
Yeah.
No pressure at all. By the way, I'm going to read off another batch of names that just came in. Jim M from Arizona, Mike W from Arizona. Yay, Arizona. By the way, we're just like California, Arizona, Florida. Okay. John B from Florida. Joe S from Minnesota. Stephen D from Florida. Carl T from Idaho. Don W from Hawaii. Kevin G from Florida. Carter B from North Carolina. All right, I'm just reading off a couple of names because we are limited in terms of total access on here. In fact, I'm going to cover that here in just a moment. But again, this is $9.95 for the year. Sorry, $19.95 for the year. $9.85 quarterly includes everything listed above. Again, designed to give you 12 months clarity, control, consistent trade setups. I mean, the key is over here is how many trade setups you're going to get. Okay, more than you're ever going to want to trade. I mean, in a given week, in a 5-day week. In fact, Blake, I'll turn it to you on this one. In a 5-day
Mhm.
week, how often are you going to set up in a 5-day week?
Well, there's setups every day, one, but as far as signals and actually tradable signals, we're somewhere between, in just the 2 hour time window, we're hitting anywhere from 2 to 6. Today I only had one so far, but I also was back here, so I couldn't see it. 137.50, one trade. That's it. But so generally you'll get 2, 3 trades in that 2 hour time window. But if you're going to trade the rest of the day, because the beacons are still valid all day long, we could hit 5 or 10 trades if you can't trade during that time window. So theoretically, what would that be? 10 to 50 trades in a week, potentially?
That's pretty good. I
Yeah.
mean, Rago's got you beat, but that's pretty good.
Well, and I was trying to pull it back down because I was hitting in May, I was hitting every day 10 to 15. And I was like, let's bring this down to just this window so that you can get on with your day. Take
Yeah,
the
by the
trades and
way,
be done.
I do appreciate the one of the comments in the chat room. And the comment in the chat room, I'm actually going to read it if you guys don't mind. It's skepticism is healthy, and I was a skeptic too. After joining Blake's, mentorships, learning from him, and trading with real money, I've become a believer. I've started trading the 6C and ES with Blake in the futures room. Okay, not with this beacon yet. Okay, he is one of the best instructors. It will take time, but his systems do work, and I'm profitable after about 1 year. And Theo is not paying me to make this recommendation. Actually, I do recognize the name, and I do appreciate you coming in and actually saying that. I recognize the name, and yeah. By the way, we don't ever pay anybody for any recommendations like that. We want people's feedback. We totally want their feedback. as I said, when it comes to individual instructors, like Blake is one of the more likable, but he's also probably one of the most rigid. Blake, a lot of people don't know this about you, but he has a heavy accounting background. So for all the bean counters out there, okay, you'll
Mm.
appreciate Blake is a by the numbers kind of guy. Like he actually to the point where he drives me completely nuts. All right. So again, I'll reiterate there is a 30-day money back guarantee on this. And we don't have stipulations in the 30-day money back guarantee. As they always say over here, like, look, we want people that want to trade. I want to make that clear. Like, look, you don't sign up unless like you want to be involved in this. I think a lot of people sign up for stuff and they're just like, okay, I signed up. Just this is where you put the money at this point. Look, obviously there's a 12-week mastermind. Obviously there's a class. Okay, there's like a 101 to get you started. There's going to be some time and effort. Sure beats the hell out of though, like a regular like job. Okay. You sit in front of your screen for like an hour or two a day. It's not half bad. I got to tell you something. Okay. After, where am I right now? How long I've been behind an actual computer screen? So I started trading in 98. When I first started trading in 98, trading was more of a sport. Like literally, it was the physicality of being on a trading floor for the first 2 years of my career. I have been trading behind screens since roughly 2000, since when the internet bubble kind of crashed. So I am 25 years behind screens. Okay. I tried to, hang it up like one time that lasted all of 3 weeks. I do believe my wife said something along the lines like, you're either going to do something or this is not going to work. So, and I was yelling at my computer screens all day and trading. So she's like, you should put a microphone in front of you. We did. We called it Theo Trade. But yeah, the truth be told is I still sit in front of my screens. I like it though. Like it's what I do, and the limited days I'll sit behind my screen for like 3 hours a day. In a busy day, I'm sitting behind the screen for like 6 hours a day. I'm not asking anybody to do that, but I'm telling you, okay, you do have to put forth a little bit of effort. And we give you the 30-day money back guarantee, okay? But at the same time, you got to put in some effort. And I hope that that's okay. Okay. JT was asking, what time is the room? You're doing early, right? First hour of the
Hmm.
day?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're gonna do the first hour of the day, because again, I generally we're gonna trade the sec after the first half hour, that 2 hour block. So we want to have the setups, we want to have the beacons done, and again, yes, I'll be showing you how to make those beacons and how to use it, and then you have a half hour, and we might pick up a couple early, but generally speaking, we're gonna have that half hour to set up and then trade. So I plan on executing every single day if the signals are there. Obviously, we got to be diligent in our rule following, but yeah, every day, first hour of the day, that's going to be our private room.
Clock's ticking. Next 12-hour beacon, obviously, will be tonight. That means trade setups are actually going to appear by the morning. If you wait, you're going to miss a couple of them. The system doesn't wait for anyone. Like no one has to rush out to trade. Every single one of you enrolling, you're either enrolled for the quarter, you're enrolled for the year. If you're enrolled for the year, you don't have to rush to necessarily trade tonight. Okay. But there will be signals coming out. Even between now and July 31st in the class, the signals are already out. Okay. We're all trading them already. Okay. The market moves with or without you in here. Look, 50 seats. We're actually limiting access. And this is the part we're incentivizing you to obviously enroll now. Okay. We want, okay, great support in here. I also want you guys to know, again, it's a one to many situation, meaning there's one Blake. So we are going to limit the number of people in there. Once we hit 50 in here, and we're doing okay right now in terms of the numbers, but once we hit 50, the doors are actually going to close. Want to make sure that the signals do not get diluted, okay, by some of the noise in here, and that the entire room doesn't just get filled with noise. By the way, another group in here, Brian B from Florida, Albert L from California, John F. from California, Aaron A. from Arkansas, and Shane C. from Texas. Again, these are individuals. We see your enrollment. It just takes us a few minutes to turn around to username and password, and obviously access into the 10% per month club. All right, the next beacon is already building. Data is flowing over here. Okay, you're going to be ready for it. You're still going to be guessing. Okay, tomorrow morning there'll be another window that'll actually be open in here for sure. Did you trade? Did you trade today? I know
Yeah,
you
like I
were.
said, we only
I
got one signal. I mean, we
yeah,
had the beacon, but we only had one signal before I had to jump over here. So I only took one trade. There may have been others while we've been talking, but one trade,
yeah.
one winner, $60 risk, 137.50 gain. And again, if you trading a larger account, what would that be? 1,375. So,
Oh yeah. So
theoretically one
that's
trade.
That's actually a great point. Is we're showing you like $125 here, $125 there. Any one of these trades, you do more contracts. We like to play this to like the lowest common denominator, assuming that people want like a nominal amount of risk. But as I said, you have a $2,000 account, a $2 million account. In quite fact, you don't even have to have an account minimum. People always ask me about the brokerage firm over here. Please, that part's easy. Anybody and everybody, okay, can basically trade these with a multitude of different brokerage firms. Like the brokerage firm is really it's not even secondary, it's like tertiary in this. By the way, Paul M from South Dakota. We've reached South Dakota. Okay, they have internet. I'm just picking on you there, Paul. And Candace S from Pennsylvania. Um, fantastic. By the way, I always say there's only a couple of states that I haven't been to. I got to get up to South Dakota. I got to do it.
Oh, you
Um,
haven't been there yet. You haven't seen
I
the
have
you haven't
not
seen the
been.
carved out heads.
I want to see a lot. Weirdly enough, I've actually been to North Dakota, not South Dakota. My travels when working at Thinkorswim took me everywhere. I've not been to South Dakota though. I gotta get on there. I gotta get on that bus eventually here. Right now though, I'm on a 26-mile island, feeling a little isolated over here. There's no Costco, there's no chicken, no Costco, no chicken right now. So, look, every day you're going to wait, another signal is missed. Another move passes you by, another day of progress you're never going to get back. This is actually, again, it's going to be a great opportunity for those of you actually that are jumping in. Again, 10% per month club. So you've seen the trades, you've seen the system, you've seen the edge. Now it's time to make your move. You can enroll now. Again, there's 50 seats. It is $19.95 for the annual. It is $9.95 for the quarterly. We are going to answer some questions. Before I do so, if you need us, call us 623-244-5657. Again, there are individuals that are just not comfortable necessarily, putting credit card information online, which I totally accept that. So feel free to give them a call. You can give them a call at any time. Again, it's 623-244-5657. We're happy to actually post the number back into the chat room over here. Again, it's theotrade.com/10, just the number 10. All right. With that little bit of Q&A before Blake and I kind of wrap things up. One of the things that always comes up, and Blake, the honest thing is you need a
Mhm.
laptop, internet connection. Do you need a laptop? Do you trade
No,
tablet? Can you do off
you
your
can
phone? I
tablet.
mean,
I've done it. I've done my phone.
okay. So
I have
so I
so
I trade everything like um I trade everything off of my phone. Like I'm literally like right now, my account is up on other screens here. But if I want to do anything, by the way, I just did something.
speaking of which,
Sorry, you can't make that crap up. If I want to do anything, what I'm doing right now is you just saw an execution. I'll execute over. You can't even see it because it gets green screened out. I'm even plugged in over here. I'll get rid of that. I'll actually trade in the phone and it'll come up on the screen over here, especially when I'm doing presentations. So you got that going for you. Anyway, um, so you're comfortable actually trading some of the executions, some of the beacons off your phone. I wanted to get to that. Um, when you are sending the beacons out,
Mhm.
are you going to just set it up like a day in advance? Or are you actually going to be executing just live in the chat room and having people jump the same trade as you? Like, how's that
Yeah,
actually going to look?
we will absolutely be doing the trade together. So the beacon set up the night before, and so we'll be on 7:30 my time, so that's 9:30 Eastern. I had a question about the California. That's going to be 6:30 a.m. when we start these private chat rooms. But that's going to give us time to say, here's where the beacon levels are. And if you're not using the same platform, any platform, it's a number, right? You're going to have these numbers, and I'm going to give you these numbers. The beacon's going to be projected. So you're going to be able to put those numbers anywhere. And then, yes, you can set the trade up. And we do place the trades with a stop loss and a limit. So they all have a bracket order. You can get out of your target. There will be times we adjust and risk manage those based off of other things. But yes, you can absolutely automate your exit, and you should. And so that way, if you're doing it on your phone, that's fine. If you're doing it on your tablet, that's fine. We have numbers. We have numbers 12 hours ahead of time, but realistically, we'll even be setting up the trades where you have 15, 20, 30 minutes to set up the trade.
Yeah. By the way, no, Blake is still in the other room as well. So Blake is going to be
Back
playing
to back.
yes. Don't worry, he doesn't ever go to the bathroom or ever eat. It's okay. None of us do. None of us do. It's better that way. By the way, I'm gonna read off another batch of names. We're getting fairly close to the 50 in here too. Kelly B from Nevada, Ray Z from Oklahoma, John M from Idaho, Brian N from Connecticut, Wim H from Netherlands, Mitch S from Texas. There was a question that actually came in here a moment ago, and I'm actually going to jump ahead and answer this because, obviously I'm pretty familiar with the brokerage side of the business, but somebody said, can I do this on Thinkorswim? Can I do this, trading view? 100%, 100%. Because all of us today, just so you guys know, like, what am I doing over here? I'm sitting here trading. Like, what do you think is going on over here? And if I'm not trading in this account, and again, I mean, how many accounts do I have in here? Okay, a lot. So I'm constantly, executing in different accounts. The execution that you guys just heard was in the what we term the $1 million portfolio in here. So that's the $1 million portfolio, and it's that one. But then, of course, that was Tasty Trade, and then of course I keep Thinkorswim open as well. So those are the two platforms that I'm presently using. Okay, you are not limited to those platforms. This product is rather wide open for that. So with that, again, you can, I mean, realistically, like, would I want to do every trade off of my phone? Probably not. Like, I like sitting in front of a computer a little bit, but I absolutely love my iPad as well. I trade on my iPad, like, almost as much as I do on my desktop. There's just something cool about like touching the screen. By the way, I don't have like the really expensive iPad. Like, I have the $299 Walmart iPad. Like, legitimately, I have a $299 Walmart iPad because I use it for like a year. I hand it to a kid, and then I just go get another one for like 299. It's whatever. It's a year or 2 year old iPad, and it works beautifully. Like, you don't have to convince your significant other that you need $1,000 iPad. But if you have one, it's a good reason to get one. A few more names: John F from Florida, Michael S from Hawaii, uh, Johnson S from Florida, Kurt S from Minnesota. All right, next one on here. Oh, sorry, David Z from New York and Mark Y from Florida. Okay, you can email anytime, receive a response within 24 hours. So this is a little bit different because Blake's actually going to be in a room every day. Okay. Better than even email him, just ask him a question while he's live. It's easier because the turnaround time in an email, he's sitting there typing it. You would rather see whatever he's doing on the screen anyway. So hit him live. Okay. Hit him with questions. It's perfect. Again, if you do email us, okay, we're trading throughout the course of the day, and I'm just going to be very forthright in saying, okay, Blake is intensely busy. Most of us are actually broadcasting 2 to 3 hours a day, and the rest of the time, you can find us trading for the most part. So we're usually answering emails in the off hours. Variations, okay, of the trades that we're doing here. This is available in an IRA. You can trade this contract inside of a retirement account. Some of the retirement accounts do require $2,000 in the retirement account, but it's a retirement account, so it is what it is. Remember, 50 spots are available. Get results, take action, enroll for it now. And again, I'll reiterate, it's throw the site up over here. It's theotrade.com/10. You select either the annual or the quarterly in here. Okay. Somebody say you're trading futures or futures options. It's actually the futures contract itself. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And
It,
I'll
it
let
can
Quick go
certainly
ahead
be
and say,
applied to spot and other things if you wanted to, but we will only be trading the either the micro or the mini. So
so
full full and micro.
I have very, very strong feelings about this. For those of you that understand, there is a currency marketplace, like a spot currency marketplace, right? Which people know as the FX market. I am far less comfortable in that marketplace than I am trading a futures contract that happens to be based on currency. That futures marketplace, okay, better backing, better clearing, better technology, better everything. So I stress to you, people say, is trading currencies? No. Okay. It is a futures contract based on currency. And the Euro FX, it's, for years, this actually was the largest trading pit. I don't know if you know that. It's the largest trading pit with the largest number of people in it for many years. So
Well,
kind of
to give you an
wild.
idea, the euro US dollar either in the spot or the futures so outside the futures is a $6 trillion a day market.
Yeah.
And so it, dwarfs everything.
So another question came in as great. It says Tasty Trade has futures. They also have Tasty FX. Which would be better? I would trade again the futures contract. Okay. And it has to do with how the systems work on the back end. Okay. All currency trades themselves go to internalization engines where, but people don't know what that means. But basically your futures trade, okay, is cleaner. It's more like pure, it's raw capitalism, where like the FX side of it, the actual currency side, it's not as clean of a marketplace. It's a little bit more muddled. I also like the regulatory side of the futures a little bit better in there. Hmm.
I like being regulated by a pseudo government agency.
Yeah, like FX is
No, it
FX
makes it
is
it makes it cleaner, right? It takes away that Wild West sentiment because you're regulated.
it is. It definitely is. All right, Blake, I think I've gotten most of these. I think we're going to spend a couple of minutes answering some questions inside of the room. A few more names to read off, and then of course we'll wrap up here momentarily. And again, we'll sit in the chat rooms and actually answer a few questions. Again, Michael M from California, Richard M from Florida. Again, if you guys would on your trading applications, depending upon which trading application it happens to be, it is forward slash again. Okay, you can go M6E. Okay, you can actually type that in, of course, or just forward slash okay 6E. It does depend, of course, on the trading application. Those would be the symbols specifically for both Tasty Trade and Thinkorswim. Look, on behalf of Blake, myself, and everybody here at TheoTrade, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Uh, John G from Michigan got you right before over here, and we are closing in on 50 individuals that have actually subscribed thus far. Thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Blake, you got
Yes,
your
sir.
work cut out for you now.
Yes.
So it begins, sir, and it begins from here. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful
All right.
afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.